Welcome to Daxue Talks, a show powered by Daxue Consulting, a China-based strategic market research company founded in 2010.
Hello everyone, my name is Aurelien Rigart. I'm the co-founder and vice president of IT Consultis. I'm from France. I've been in China and started this adventure 9 years ago. So IT Consultis is a digital transformation company with a team of 80 people in 3 countries, which are China, Singapore, and Vietnam. So we're helping Fortune 500 and fast-scaling startups to work on their digital transformation. It can range from e-commerce, from building mini programs, from building website, apps, integrating systems together, or overall work as a consultant on their digital transformation initiatives.
What are the different components of private traffic? What is used to create private traffic in China besides your own website and WeChat?
So I would say that the Chinese ecosystem is very particular. It's, as we know, it's very different than all the other ecosystems. We have a market dominance here from, Alibaba, that is like having about 90% of the market share when it comes to e-commerce. And we also have, Baidu that is like way less used than, Google is used in the rest of the world. So overall, brands nowadays, they're trying to create their own ecosystem, which is going to be outside Alibaba because they're really struggling to get enough data. So private traffic here, we're talking about the entire WeChat ecosystem. So we're talking about the subscription account, we're talking about the official account, but as well, we're talking about the H5, the mini site that can be displayed inside, or the mini program. So those are the things that we're talking about, when we're talking about private traffic, because when you're talking about the red Xiaohongshu, or even sometimes, the Douyin, they're not really considered as private traffic because those software, those apps, they do not necessarily have an API that can be leveraged in order to afterwards get the data and get the analytics to do what you want as a marketer, to do marketing automation and to aggregate this into a CRM. So this is really the beginning, but those are, WeChat has been the core of the private traffic. And of course, we have everything that is SMS. We have as well, there's a real blur now between the physical and of course the digital. So I think retail and, the physical store is a magnific, a magic aspect of, that private traffic. And, digitalizing, those stores is what enable brands to really to connect.
What frameworks exist to develop mini programs in WeChat? Is there something like WordPress for mini programs? Are there some building blocks you can assemble, or do you have to code from scratch?
So, it's there's WordPress, of course. So the way mini program works is that, it's built in a headless way. So that means there's a mini program, so there is a backend and then there is a front end, and both of them are connected through APIs. And of course, in China, you get, the Wix or the Shopify of China that are going to be the Weidian or the Yuzhen, that are, companies that are public listed, that are making huge amount of revenues and that are having new, shops, being open, every day, every week. And they have a subscription model. So it's kind of semi-private, traffic where they keep, the ownership of the data for a good part. And it's, it's kind of in between where, on Wix, you have the opportunity to choose specific templates and kind of plug and play them they're coming with a lot of functionalities, but it depends where you stand as a brand. So if you're a brand like Swatch or Decathlon or, Porsche, you want to have your own ecosystem, you want your own infrastructure to be hosted in your own cloud. Whereas here, everything is going to be hosted in a cloud that belongs to basically everybody, where, your data protection and your data ownership is going to be a little bit different, where you cannot fully customize your user journey. So of course, those solutions, those SaaS solutions, pre-existing kind of plug and play, they exist, but, they don't allow the full flexibility. So coming back to your question, WordPress does exist in China. And if you use it in a proper way, you can have your website as a front end and a mini program as, the second front end that can be a mini program for both, for instance, WeChat, but as well for Alipay, and maybe in the future for Weibo or Douyin or, other platforms, because all the other platforms are launching their own mini program.
How do you drive traffic to your own channels like WeChat, websites, shops, or how do you get a phone number to create a direct connection with consumers through SMS?
Well, that's something that is, highly complicated. And, like what we'll tell, all the clients is like, first of all, like have a look at your assets. What are the assets that you have in hands? Are they, like your retail, your Tmall presence? Is there like a notoriety that you have globally that you can leverage? If you are a brand that is abroad and wants to come to China, how you can leverage the Chinese tourists, not that many at the moment, but like in the future when things are reopening, how, like you can leverage, like the inbound, those tourists to kind of like start engaging like whenever they are in the US or in Europe and start, having specific interaction through, scanning a QR code, becoming a follower of the service account, interacting with the mini program, and then onboarding them through can be like a loyalty program or referral program, and continue to, understand where they were, how, like they got in touch with you at first step, and how you can build like a very strong user journey to continue retargeting them, like when they're in China. And if you do this well, then that means like you can leverage already that part and really step by step creating, like a quality database and building a marketing automation. So you can build your revenue really step by step if you're using good practices, but only if you're using good practices. So this is for the case of, like a brand that is like performing their WeChat marketing and marketing automation in the proper way, leveraging their retail traffic, whether like it's outside of China. So that could be one of them. Something that has been, of course, like very hot, influencer, KOL, KOC. A lot of people are talking about this. So KOL, KOC, there is like an entire industry, whether it's like on Tmall, JD, or now that has been made even like stronger using the live stream function on WeChat and on the mini program, where we see brands that are now directly hiring influencer through, like directly some platforms. For example, like we're talking about Parklu, which is a startup that, really helps brands or agency basically selecting, their KOL. And so that's something that we have seen more and more. So like driving the traffic a first time here in order to afterwards like have like repeated behavior. Of course, like the old fashioned way, like ensuring that basically you have like pay advertisement on your WeChat, then you're going to have a conversion. And then of course, step by step, you're going to create like content of interest to generate views or to generate, like purchases. So this is as well possible. Of course, like all the systems are isolated, but if done properly, you need to leverage each of the touch point and each of the asset that you have in order to drive conversion in the end. So no, like magic wand here again. It's a step by step, and it's like very strong work that is required to not only drive traffic, because driving traffic is easy. But, like the most important is driving traffic that is going to bring a return on investment. And that's really the challenge here. How are you going to build the technology stack? How are you going to build your marketing automation? And how are you going to hire the KOL that you're going to have like the right deal that is going to enable you to generate, like a revenue that is, like basically are going to favor your bottom line, like your top line and your bottom line together. And I think a lot of brands, like they have been working on their top line, but they've been really struggling with their bottom line. So especially now they have to manage, very specific inventory, like with the season, ending. So they need to heavily discount in order to move to the next season when you're talking about fashion or even specific products. So now I think it's the challenge for brands to survive. And, it's been the case for a long time in China where top line has been more important than bottom line. But at some point in this economy, we need to focus as well on the bottom line.
Any questions? We will find an expert to answer them. Drop your questions in the comments or send us an email, dx@daxueconsulting.com.